What's up, guys? Coach B here with another episode of Chalk Talks. We're going to dive in a little bit more into options. Today, we're going to start talking about some terminology that's commonly used that we'll need to know as we move forward in more in-depth conversations. And then we'll get into volatility and how that affects a contract price. As always, I'm trying to simplify a lot of this stuff we're going over. So if you want to get more in-depth on a specific topic, leave me some comments down below. Even if there's a new topic you want covered, comment below. I'll start working on it. Okay, so first up, all contracts, whether they be puts or calls, are usually referred to in three categories, and I'm sure you've seen them on Twitter, Reddit, wherever. ITM, OTM, or ATM. And if you've ever wondered what that means, this is probably the simplest, of all of this. Basically, in the money, ITM. OTM is out of the money, and ATM is at the money. So I'm going to pull up an option chain right now. Maybe we'll do Disney. I always like to use that to reference for whatever reason. So we'll pull up Disney right now, and I'll kind of briefly show you what I mean. But this is pretty simple stuff. Okay, so like I said, I pulled up the Disney option chain. We're looking at the September 17, 2021 expiration, which is about 37 days from now. If you watched my previous video, I kind of explained all option chains are different. They're set up in different ways. For Thinkorswim, they have purple color coded already for you for in the money options and black for out of the money. But basically, right now, Disney's trading at 178.09. That's where it closed today. So if we were to look at anything below that on the call side, which is over here, any call contract below 178.09 would be considered in the money, because when you have a call contract, you basically, you want to the stock price to surpass your strike price. So anything, the 175, the 170, 165, 160, anything that's below that price would be considered in the money, right? And the same thing works for puts, but in the opposite direction. When you buy a put contract, you want the stock to go down, so you would need to be higher than the strike price, right? So if the price of the stock is 178, any strike price above 178, 180, 185, 190, you get the picture, is in the money. Okay, out of the money is basically the opposite, right? So the money's at 178. So now if we look at 180, 185, 190, etc., these are considered out of the money for calls. And on the opposite, this is out of the money for puts, anything below 178. So that's basically your in the money, out of the money terminology. When you hear someone say at the money, they're basically looking at the closest strikes to the stock's price. So, for a call, it would be the 180 would be the at the money strike. Some people would go maybe in a stock like this, $3 in the money and call that still at the money. But these strike prices that are right there, right next to the stock price, that's what your at the money is. All right, so the next thing that we want to understand when looking at options is the two types of values that these contracts hold, right? We talked about in my options basics video, that every contract has this premium that the buyer needs to pay, whether it be a call or a put. And basically these two types of value that every contract has is either going to be intrinsic value and extrinsic value, or time value. And I'll explain that in a second. But intrinsic value is pretty easy to understand. It's basically the difference between the strike price and the stock price, okay? Time value, on the other hand, extrinsic value, is basically what's left after you take the intrinsic away. So time value is the premium you're paying for a contract, the incentive for the contract writer to take on that liability. And it's also value that will slowly wither away as you get closer to a contract's expiration. So it's kind of like the speculative value, right? If I'm selling you a contract to buy my stock 90 days from now at whatever strike price it may be, the time value is the premium I'm charging you, because the more time you have, the more likely it is the stock will go in your favor. Okay, I hope that makes sense. But again, let's go back and look at the option chain and try to break this down a little bit. Okay, so starting with in the money options, we could take the current stock price of Disney, which we said was what, 178, and let's go to a strike price. Let's say what, $15 in the money. So let's go down to 160. So the 160 strike right now, the premium on that is 1935. Well, the difference between the 160 strike and where the stock is trading at, which is what, 178, is basically $18. Okay. So $18 of that is your intrinsic value. Again, the difference between the strike price and the actual stock price. That's your intrinsic value. That's how deep this stock is in the money. So now that we know that, what's left? The time value. So if we have $18 of intrinsic value and the premium is $19.35, basically, our extrinsic value, our time value on top of that is that extra $1.35. Okay. So now that we know that, this is basically what the September 17th train, which is 37 days from now. Let's look out a little bit, right? So that we were basically paying $1.35 in time value here for the 160 strike. Let's go out to November. Okay. So if I pull up the November chain, November 19th, intrinsic's going to be the same, right? Stock's trading for 178. If we go to the 160 strike, the difference between 160 and 178 is $18. Okay. So now we look at it and it's trading for $22. So the intrinsic value is 18. The extrinsic, the time value, is that difference, which is $4. Okay. So now let's look at January just to, keep kind of showing this. Again, intrinsic's always going to be the same. So we know we have $18 in intrinsic value. Now the premium's $23. We have time value here, extrinsic value of $5.65. Okay, because it's trading for $23.65 right now. So as you can see, the more days on the contract, the more days till expiration, the more time that you're giving this contract to mature, the more you're going to be paying in extrinsic value or time value. Okay. So also, the shorter you get, it's going to go away. So that's why I was kind of saying, that extrinsic value is always going to wither away. Now, the only stocks that have intrinsic value are your in the money calls. But let's jump back and do the same comparison for out of the money. Okay. So if we go to out of the money again we'll go to the September, same price we had. But this time let's go $15 out. So last time we went to 160. We'll go $15 the other way and go 190. So this 190, there is no intrinsic value now, right? Because the stock isn't in the money. This is all time value we're paying. So, at $90, which is basically, that's only 12 out. Let's go 15. Let's go to the 195. So, basically at 195 strike on September, we're paying $1.23, and that's all time value. Okay, that's 37 days from now, every single day that goes on, and we'll go over that in another video, but that time value is going to decrease. So that was for September, $1.23. Really quick, we'll go back to November, 195 strike, 405. So you're paying way more time value there, almost $3 more. Okay, and then now we'll go jump to January, same thing. Look at the 195 strike. We're paying $6.15, another $2 in time value. So again, the more time you put on the contract, the more extrinsic value you'll see. The other thing that I'm sure you noticed is, when you compare, in the money options hold way less time premium. They hold way less intrinsic value. Out of the money options hold way more extrinsic value. Okay. Now let's look at the money, and then that'll probably be enough to wrap up this video. But going back again, September 17th, just to kind of give a comparison on how these values work. If we're looking right here, and let's go in the money so we kind of see that difference in the money, but right kind of like at that strike price. So at 175, $3 of this is going to be our intrinsic value. We're looking at 465 in time value. For November, it's trading at 1170. Take away the $3 of intrinsic value we have, you're paying 870 in time value. And then again for January, if you're looking at right here at the 175 strike, you're paying almost 1115 in extrinsic value. Okay, so that's it for today. I really just wanted to kind of give you these examples because as we start to talk about this, or as you see other videos or other people talking, they just say, yeah, at the money, or this has this much intrinsic. I know a lot of people sometimes are wondering, well, what the hell does that mean? So there you go. On my next video, I'll be talking about volatility. What is historical volatility? What is implied volatility? And how that affects your contract prices, how that adds on to your extrinsic value, your time value. Okay, so if you have ideas for future videos, again, please leave them below in the comments. Also, if you're enjoying the content, please hit the like and subscribe button to help support this channel. Come back and check me out every morning, a half hour before the market opens on my live stream, Talking Stocks with Coach B. We go over some of this stuff. We follow some of my favorite stocks, some stocks that I'm in, and really just have a lot of fun to kick off the morning and drink some coffee. All right, have a great day. See you next time.